What's up, Lamont? How are you?
Overtime, Chloe is in the building. Look at that smile. It's a worldwide smile.
Thank you.
Everybody knows overtime, Chloe. We appreciate you being here.
For sure. Thanks for having me. Shout out to Mary for telling me about everything and putting me on. I go way back with her. She's been around me since I was super young. So thanks for having me. I really
That's
appreciate
my
it.
girl. So you know my girl Mary for a long time, huh?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? I, I I'm so happy to have you here. She talked really big about you, and I got to tell you, I'm not a social media guy. I post a lot on social media for business, but I don't see things right.
Yeah.
So they told me, a couple of weeks ago, hey, we want to bring in overtime Chloe for the show.
Yeah.
Who's that? Right? I don't know. Right? So I go to research and find out you're the it girl. You're like, I'm looking at your videos and I'm entertained. The old guy is
Uh-huh.
entertained because I see you singing. I saw you jump roping. I see
Yeah.
you like you're just the it girl. Really?
Yeah.
So, so for, go ahead.
Yeah, I just try to have fun with it. I don't take myself or anything too seriously. And I think one of the best parts about basketball, especially for me, is like, I've played a lot and I've sat the bench, coached, done everything else. So I just feel like there's a lot of different funny things and humor that you can get out of those experiences. So I just try to bring them to life.
Well, I'm so glad you're here because we have a lot of young ladies that follow our account and they look up to you. And one thing I like to do with courtside conversations is we talk some serious things and we talk funny things, but they get to know who you are and what your thoughts are beyond the TikToks and this, and, get to know you a little more intimately than they probably normally would. So we got a lot of things we're going to go over today. And of course, like I told them, they know, but you may not know at the end, we always got a little something special for you.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Right,
Okay.
right.
All
That,
right.
that you didn't get on the pre-questions. Now, we don't
Yeah.
put that on the pre-questions for
Yeah,
you.
I'm tuned in. Yeah, I see. I want to shout out. Can I shout out a couple people?
Sure,
Shout
go
out
ahead. Go ahead.
team underscore Mincy. That was Lauren Mincy, my teammate at Maryland, one of the greatest to play the game, and then also my guy Overtime Larry in the building too.
Overtime Larry is in the
Yeah,
building. New York
yeah.
stand up, right?
Hmm.
So let's dive right in. Recently the WNBA gave a raise to the young ladies, but we also know it's nowhere near where it should be. And they still can go overseas and make more money. Do you ever think the WNBA will be where it needs to be as far as paying salaries?
I think eventually, yeah, I can totally see it. I was reading just a few articles the other day how really the next big thing that's about to blow up and that people should invest in is women's sports. Just with everything that's going around in the culture and people starting to respect the game more. So I definitely can see the WNBA at some point. I don't know when that's going to be, getting to that kind of closer salary like the men get.
Hmm.
I'd say right now it's pretty hard because, their collective bargaining agreement is for 8 years. To me, that's a little bit too long. I think the
Right.
game is about to explode probably in the next 3 to 4 years, even more. So,
Yeah, no, that's a great point. That was long when I saw that. You
yeah.
know, it kind of reminded me of the Scottie Pippen contract.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we're going to get you on the low. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even like the NCAA, like another big entity, they're just now starting to want to compensate the players. Now, me a little bit, I almost think it's a little too late because the NBA created a way that they bypassing them, and I think the NCAA kind of got in there late. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that compensation? What do you think it was too late, or how will it impact the game? What's your feelings on that?
Definitely. I think it's always better to be proactive than reactive. I think the G League forced the NCAA's hands, and so did the state of California, where they ruled that
Yep.
players can make money off their image and likeness, and now other states are also filing lawsuits to get that same treatment. So I think it was only a matter of the time before the NCAA did as well. I think it's definitely too late. They should have been doing that. But I do think there's a lot of great things that can come out of it, especially on the women's side. Because to me, especially on the women's side, college basketball is still the pinnacle. I think for as a girl, as a woman, that's where you get the most exposure, and I think that's when the spotlight is on you for the longest, especially because the season is so long compared to the WNBA season.
Correct. Okay. Great insight there. Now, what some people may not know, I didn't know, because once I started watching your videos, I kind of just wanted to know a little bit more about you. Like, how did you become popular? So as I'm reading, I'm like, wait a minute. Now, you played as a top point guard under, Coach Brenda out there at Maryland, and then, as a grad assist under Gino. Like, I'm like, that's like heaven for a player and a grad assist. Tell those young folks, like, what was those experiences like at both levels?
Yeah, unbelievable. Going to Maryland was still one of the best choices I could have ever made in my life. I know, especially right now, they have a lot. It seems like a lot's going on right there. But I would do it over a million times over, and I think the people that are supposed to be there are there. As far as UConn goes, that's an experience of a lifetime that not many people can say that they got to be a part of and learn from two of the greatest coaches in the world, Gino Auriemma and associate head coach Chris Daly, who everyone knows how much praise I give them and how much I thank them all the time. And likewise with Coach Freeze, she's helped me out a lot. But learning from Gino and X's and O's genius, I mean, like, you understand why he has 11 championships, and same thing with CD. He couldn't do it without her.
So did you learn a lot about, like, let's say if you wanted to go out and coach, did you learn a lot about his system, and not just the X's and O's, but how to maintain a program of, elite level? He gets the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's, how do you manage that? Did you learn about, like, temperaments and how to get what I'm saying? Like, some people, that's hard to do.
Yeah, for sure. I know, especially for me, like, well, first off, I was able to get that job because one of the assistants on the staff, Marissa Mosley, was one of the first people to ever recruit me when I was in 7th grade. And so even though I didn't go to the school she was at the time, right after I committed to Maryland, she got the job at UConn, and we just always kept in touch. And she was just like, if you ever need anything, like, let me know. So that's why I always tell kids, like, coaches you meet along the way, like, just because you commit to another school, you can still keep in touch with that person. And it's almost weird to shut them out because you've known them for so long. So that's what I would say, always, focus on your relationships. But as far as learning from Gino and CD, that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I think every player should have to be a GA or player development coach, because you just don't understand how much everyone does for you as a player. Like, as a player, you feel so put upon, and like, you do so much, and you're like, what are all these other people doing? But you have no idea how much easier they make your life. And I've just learned so much. It was such a humbling experience because, I was like, I could be the greatest coach in the world, like, tomorrow. That's the type of thing I was thinking about. And then obviously learning from them, like, who am I?
Right.
Also, shout out to young BBQ, social media legend too. Check her out, y'all.
All right. So now you mentioned that you were being recruited in 7th grade, right? That's happening more and more. Do you feel that put more pressure on you, or was it easier for you? Because how did you go through that experience?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I always thought that my mom was saving up for my college fund, and she told me once I got my first letter in 7th grade, she was like, "Whoo, we good." So when I hit her up in college, like, "Hey, Mom, where's all that money you saved for me in college?" She was like, "What are you talking about?"
Right.
So I will say that. So that was a plus. But for me, back in 7th grade, I was just obsessed with basketball. Like, I just wanted to be the best, like, always believed in, like, working super hard. I just never wanted anyone to outwork me because I was never the most athletic. I was never the fastest, but I would still win everything because I was going to outwork the other person. And things shifted a little bit like that when I got to college, and I'll get to that later. But the pressure I never really felt pressure because I enjoyed it. You know, I think now the kids have so much more pressure on them. Like they have to do this. Even social media now, I feel like they have to have a brand. Like they have to do this. And it kind of takes the fun out of the game. I was just doing something I loved. And, you know, I had a dream since 5th grade that I wanted to go to Maryland. And I knew that I was going to make that happen. And I was going to sacrifice or do whatever I could to make that happen.
Now, you talked about how hard you had to work. I think, you know, you've been to 4 Final Fours, right?
Yeah.
Two as a player, right? And two, that alone is an experience beyond most people's imagination. But they see you there, but they don't understand the work ethic it took to get there. You
Yeah.
know, explain a little bit about, because we watch Kobe, we watch Jordan, we watch those greats. And sometimes kids think that they're just gifted and that it didn't take the work. It takes work. So you explain it from your point.
Yeah. It takes work. It's hard to do. You know, like even my freshman year, we made it to a Sweet 16, but that felt like a Final Four just because we only had 7 players. And I came into my freshman year like excuse my language, but like shit, I might not even play.
Right.
Like because we had WNBA draft picks on the team, and my incoming class, we were like, yo, we might not play at all. So we just worked so hard, like every single day, time in and time out. And plus we wanted them to respect us, like the older people, because it was like Lauren Mincy, Alyssa Thomas, all of them, you know, pros, WNBA players. And so then my sophomore year, when we went to the Final Four, like it was amazing, but we were just happy to be there, right? Like we were like, wow, we made it, we did it. So it didn't feel, it just felt different. Like it was just an experience. Whereas my junior year, when we got there, it was so hard to do it again. Like it's one thing to do it one time, but to be able to do it again, it's like a whole different beast. And anyone will tell you on that team, we hated that whole season. Like it is a miracle that we made it to the Final Four. I can't even explain it, but the whole team, everyone hated it because we sacrificed so much. And there was just a lot of different animosity on the team that year. But it was so worth it. But then my senior year, you know, like the freshmen that came in, they just expected that we were going to get to the Final Four. Really only the people that were already there understood like how much it takes. And you're not just going to magically get to the Final Four. It doesn't matter how good you are. Like there are so many other things that play a factor into it. And so people always ask me about my senior year because that was still one of the best teams at Maryland. And they're like, wow, you guys really underachieved that year, didn't get to a Sweet 16. Like, did you think you were going to get to a Final Four? I wanted to get to a Final Four, but in my heart, I knew we weren't going to. And like, to me, like the darkness always comes to light in the toughest hours and the toughest games. And anything that you cheated or anything that you guys just kind of surpassed and didn't really focus and lock in on, it comes to the light in those big moments.
Great point. Great point. You can cheat on a couple of drills, but it'll haunt you in the long run, right?
Absolutely. So even those drills in practice too, that, you know, your team's not getting it right as a coach. Okay, you move on to the next drill. At some point, that hurts because that's going to come to life in a game, right? Like do it so you can't get it wrong, not just because they're tired.
No, that's a great point, even for our coaches that's logged on. Now, how hard was it for you, or was it hard for you being a student athlete? So, you know, managing in college, managing the reports, the assignments, the homework. I always say people lose sight of, to be a student athlete, you're well more rounded than a regular student because you have so much more to do. How was it for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And still today, you know, I'm in a position where I can hire people. And I always look to see if they were student athletes just because I know the type of sacrifice and dedication that it takes to do that. And, you know, I always say this, like when you get to college, like you can only be great at 2 things. So you have to make a decision if that's going to be basketball in school, basketball in social, or school and academic, or school and in social. You can't be great at all 3. And I think that's something I learned in like my sophomore, junior year. I was trying to juggle everything and I couldn't. So basketball was suffering, but like the other parts of my life were great, you know? So it's hard. And especially, you know, I always say this to especially girls, like when you get to college, don't let these coaches push you into athlete majors. And when you get to college, you'll understand what those are.
Mm-hmm.
But just know that whatever major they try to put you in, if you can't do anything with it once you graduate from college, like if you have to go to more school, and that's not your plan, then that's not going to work for you. Get a degree in something that you can actually get a job in. And I'll say that's my biggest thing, because now it's not just a degree that's going to do it to you. I know so many student athletes that are unemployed or struggling with the athletic identity because they can't get over from when they were playing to now. It's so hard for them to get a job. Like, tell me how a Division I player that played 4 years at the highest level or at any level can't get a job in the real world. You know, like that's so
Yeah.
backwards to me. You sacrifice so much for 4 years, but to me it's like these coaches understand what they're doing. You're giving them so much, you got to make sure that they give you in that respect. And that's why I really I can respect Coach Freeze in a way, because she never got in the way with me in school. She also knew I had other dreams besides the WNBA. So I think that's different for me than it will be for a lot of other people. And one thing I will say about her and Gina Auriemma and Chris Daly is that, you know, they were all willing to make a call for anyone. Make a call for me. You know, they will call anyone for me, right? I say I want to do this. They're like, all right, let me figure out how to make that happen. So you want a coach that's going to be like that. And you want a coach that actually understands your development as a woman and just as a person that's trying to get into the real world.
No, I'm hearing you talk about this, and I remember, I think on one of your posts, you were talking about, picking the right schools and making sure that the staff and the advisors were helping you get what's best for you. And obviously it worked out for you because you majored in journalism and you moved on to be a broadcaster. When you first went to school and you decided you were going to major in journalism, was it that your whole plan was, well, when I'm done with basketball, I want to be a broadcaster?
Yeah, I wanted to do coaching and broadcasting. I just wasn't sure what order. And I still struggle with that too, because like when I'm doing one, I miss the other. But for me, I would say I can remember I don't know if it was my freshman year or my sophomore year. I sat down in Coach Freeze's office and I said, I want to quit my major. And she's like, tell me why. And so she let me tell her why, go on and on and on. And then she looked me dead in my face and she said, you're not dropping out of broadcast journalism. You're made for it. She's like, you're not allowed to drop that major. Mind you,
Really?
I was struggling. I was getting C's, D's. I've never gotten a C or D in my life, but it was that hard because I was in like the weed out classes. And she knew I was in the weed out classes. And she's like, now's not the time to quit, girl. Now's the time to, same thing on how you would get in the gym. Like now's the time where you kind of put your foot on the pedal and make something shake. So I always appreciate her for that. And that's like the biggest thing, because like it's gonna get hard. It's hard, man. It is so hard. And I think a lot of people don't understand until they get there, especially like depending on what your goals and dreams are. And so that's why you just really got to stick with it and have good people in your corner. That is so, so important.
I'm so glad you're saying that. Like I said, we got a lot of followers that are young ladies, and hearing that from you, I always say, hear the real. You know what I mean? Don't just look at the glamour that they see on TV. They
Right.
need to know it's not going to be easy. You
Nah,
know what I mean?
it's not just get in front of the mic, start talking.
Nah,
It's none of that. It's
it's
none of
none
that.
of that, right? Now
None of
you're
that.
known for all of that, those entertaining videos, and
Yeah.
they're crazy. And but how do you come up with those videos? Do you just sit around and just like, you know what, this will be a good one? Like, how do you do it?
Nah, honestly, like I said, it's a lot of it's a lot of trauma. You know, like I said, I went from literally like playing every minute to a game to like coach put me in for the last 30 seconds and I'm about to check in, like, why are you putting me in? You know, like
Really? Really?
yeah, no, so it's like a lot of different things happen. And I've been on good teams and I've been on great teams and I've been around really great players, good leaders, bad leaders, all of that. So all of this stuff, and also being able to coach, all of this stuff just kind of like rubs off on me, and anyone will tell you, I've always been like very like fun and creative. I've just never really shared it up until now, because even people that'll tell you that actually know me know like the social media thing is one thing, but like if we're in person or if we're out, like I'm probably the quietest person in the room. And only the people that know me really know that. Like I'm just,
Right.
I observe. I like to listen and hear other people talk. I don't really like to talk. So which is crazy. But literally
Yeah.
I'll just, sometimes I just see stuff like online scrolling, and then I just like, I'm like, oh, you know what? This would be funny. Let me try this and see how it works. And then even something that I don't think is that funny, a lot of people, their response is like, oh my God,
Right.
this is so good. Da,
Right.
da, da, da. So
So that's your outlet, and you use your artistical expression, and people just love it. People
yeah,
just love it. You know, we just had Jada Williams on here.
that's my girl.
Yeah, we just had her on here, and several times she mentioned Overtime Chloe. And that, you know, to me, I always ask leaders, like, how does it feel? What's your relationship with her? And how do you accept the role of being such a role model to so many young girls?
Yeah. I think for me, it's more so like when I was younger, or even now that I'm older, like I always wish
Mhm.
I had a little sister that played basketball, right? Just so I can, you know, help her and show her just the things that I went through, and that so she doesn't make that same mistake. And just because I know how many bad people there are in the world, and luckily, you know, I had a lot of really great people in my
Mhm.
corner.
Mhm.
And I've covered slash watched Jada since fifth grade. So you know, we didn't really start to really know each other until like these past couple of years.
Mhm.
So, but for me, the biggest compliment I can get from all these young girls is because like I do what I do for them. Like having overtime WBB, doing all this stuff. Like I want to be remembered, but I want to be remembered because I made a difference for young girls and women, right?
Mhm.
Because this was stuff that, you know, I didn't even have when I was in school, and I wasn't that far removed. And to me, it's like girls like Jada who make the game fun to watch, entertaining, who are actually really good, that people need to see. Um, and my relationship with her, like she can call me anytime. I can call her anytime. She is literally my little sister, and I love her so much. And like the biggest compliment I can get is from someone like her telling me that I'm her role model, because she is the type of person that I do it for.
No, that's good stuff. You said since her young days, I actually met Jada. She flew down to my Hot 100 Girls, which is pretty popular, when
Yeah,
she was in sixth grade,
yeah,
and that's when we first saw her and we fell in love with her. And
yeah,
she's such a good person too, you know.
yeah,
Um, you know, but like I said, I looked through your Instagram, looking at your posts, and a couple of things stuck out to me. And one thing I like is that you use your platform for more than just, you know, just fun. So, and what I'm talking about, one that stood out to me was the one where you talked about being comfortable in your own skin and how it affected you growing up. I just thought that one was powerful. I watched it 2 or 3 times because using that platform, being who you are and a woman of color and speaking out and talking about real issues that young ladies are going through, but maybe afraid to talk about.
yeah.
So could for the people that didn't see it, could you explain a little
Mhm.
bit of your experience and why it was important for you to post that?
Yeah. So for me, I grew up in the city. And so when I was in the city, you know, I was obviously primarily around people of color. But even where I grew up, like if you were successful and you were black, it was kind of like a unicorn. Like it was it wasn't the norm for black people to go to college. You know, the norm was when I was growing up was like probably go to jail. Like I've had brothers in jail, all of that, you know. So when I moved to the suburbs in fifth grade, that was like it was culture shock, but it was also different because like I'm mixed with black and white. So on the white side of my family, I've just always struggled because when you're young, you walk in and you notice that you're the only one that looks different. And whereas even when I was growing up in the suburbs, you know, it was the same thing, just how people would talk about Black people. And, you know, even like I hated my skin, you know, I hated my lips. I never thought I was pretty. I was super insecure. So I speak on that now just because if you don't grow up around people who can appreciate those type of things or that look like you, is very problematic. Like, honestly, until I got to once I got to college, is really when I started identifying with who I truly was. Like, I identify as a Black woman, right? And in college was the first time I grew up around successful Black people. Like, I can remember going to a neighborhood in Bowie with my best friend, and the houses were huge, and everyone in the house was Black. And she looked at my face and she was like, "You've never seen this before, right?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." Like, that just wasn't what I was used to. And so I saw how powerful it was for her growing up, that, you know, the norm is for Black people to be lawyers, doctors, go to school, whatever else, right? Where the norm where I'm from, it wasn't like that. So I think to grow up surrounded by that is so powerful. And that's why too, I just always try to talk to young girls and really try to uplift them, because I think sports is a way to do that. And I think it's an outlet for a lot of them. And I also feel like, you know, if you're not not everyone has to be an activist or, you know, speak up against certain things, but I feel like whenever you have a chance to teach or just really help people, like, I feel like you have to do that.
And I really believe you speaking out, some girl somewhere is just glad you did, because she looks up to you, and to know that you went through the same thing and had the same thoughts, you know, that goes a long way, you know, and I commend you on that. That was really something that caught my attention, that made me just feel proud even more to have you on. Now, just like me, you watch a lot of basketball. If you had to say 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5 kids that just, hey, if you get a chance, you want to go see, give me some names. Who I need to go see?
Well, you've seen Jada, right?
Yeah, man.
Malaysia for Wiley.
Oh,
Malaysia for Wiley. That
listen,
girl,
let me tell you. So she came to my freshman event last October. Mm-hmm. And I saw her last summer, and I told people, I said, this girl is different. You know, you got to watch her. And oh, did she put on a show. Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned. If they don't know who Malaysia Fulwiley is, they will. They will.
Yeah, no, seriously. Mark this live. She will be one of the greatest to ever play. She's also down there. She's working with Khadijah Sessions. I don't know if you remember her. She played at South Carolina, and she played for the 76ers in AAU. We always used to go at it. So I hit her up. I was like, yo, please protect this girl, watch this girl, like, help her, because she is really the one. I love her. I love a lot of kids. I'm gonna talk about the younger kids though. Like Lauren Swan, love her. She's like a little sister to me too. I love watching her play. I just feel like this kid is slept on in the 2021 class, and I'm so glad you're going to be talking about rankings too, because Shyday Wilson is still not ranked, and she is one of the best guards in that class. Yeah, the last time I checked, I don't know if she's finally ranked now.
I've looked, yeah.
But the last time I checked, she wasn't ranked in that class, and that is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, and I can't wait for her to prove people wrong at Syracuse. Just to go, like, rankings do not matter. We all know about Jada. I'd say another one of my favorites, she's on the West Coast actually, is Katie Fizzo. I don't know if you've heard of her. She plays for Tree of Hope, and she's elite. Like, in 8th grade, doing moves like Kobe. Just has elite court vision. And she's tall too, gonna keep growing. And West Coast, I don't show the West Coast a lot of love. And then I'm sure you know Maddie McDaniel in the DMV. You know, I still have yet to see a Maddie game, but I've seen her workout, and I've seen her go against some of the best. And I'm like, that girl, you know, she's special. And there's a ton of players that I can mention, but those few are just really high on my radar right now.
Yeah, I saw Maddie a couple months ago before all of this happened. Um, I'm glad you put those girls out there. I have to check out
Yeah.
Katie, but
Oh,
yeah,
I do gotta shout out. I do gotta shout out a couple more.
okay.
You know, I gotta show love. I
Show
gotta
them
show
love.
love to Ohio. I gotta show
Show.
love to Ohio. My
Okay.
two favorites, I'm not gonna get into the young kids, but my two favorites in high school right now are Chance Gray and KK Bransford out
Oh,
in Ohio.
KK.
Yeah,
So
that's MND and Lakota
KK, I know.
West.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
her mom, Joanna. I saw them at Buckeye Prep one
Hmm.
time. And I was like, who is this girl? Right?
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
started. She was playing against like boys, and I was like, wait a minute. But
Yeah.
yeah, she can go too. I'm glad you shot them out as well.
Yeah, I get in a lot of trouble because I show the DMV so much love, and they say I don't show Ohio as much love, and I'm from there, so I'm trying to get back that. But I'm just, you know, from being at Maryland, that's I was around those girls. So
Right. What part of Ohio were you in?
I'm from Cincinnati.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cincinnati. So when I was growing up, it was like Kelsey Mitchell. Who else is down there? A bunch of people. We had some good ones.
Okay, good. I got two of my guys that work with me live in Cincy. Um, now we're all going through COVID-19. We're right. We got those issues going on. Do you see any long-term effect on the game by COVID-19, like the way we're used to doing things?
For sure. I think that at least for the start of it, I don't know how big these tournaments are going to be able to be. I don't think they'll be as big as they were. Um, I don't think. I think they'll have to have some type of ruling with spectators. Like maybe you only get each player gets one person, you know, which is pretty crazy. Uh, you know, I also think that same thing for college coaches. I think they're going to have to make a decision on like even how many of them can attend, which I don't know how that's even possible because it has to be a level playing field and it has to be fair.
Yeah.
So I think there's gonna be a lot of changes. I know even for me right now, as much as I want AAU to happen, me personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable going to an AAU tournament with hundreds of teams and girls sweating on each other. And I think basketball is probably one of the sports that's going to be affected the most because everyone has to be involved, you
Mm-hmm.
know, to
Mm-hmm.
play.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
Mm-hmm.
there's no equipment. Obviously, it's all
Right.
sweating. So, you know, I'm sad and I'm interested to see kind of what happens. I know Nike, EYBL, they're going to come out with a decision within this next week, just with some
Right.
updates, you know, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure same thing you guys are probably trying to figure out,
Yeah.
even everything that you want to do or what's going to be able to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just kind of waiting to see, nobody knows, and that's the scary part.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows. Now, last year, you were involved with the overtime takeover with Converse. Is there another one in the works?
Unfortunately, there was, but you know, it's just with everything that's happening, it's starting to get a little bit too late, for us. Maybe we'll still be able to do it depending on, what decisions kind of come out based on the WNBA and NBA. But not this, I don't want to say no and I don't want to say yes because we were planning it, but I don't see it happening. But hopefully next year, though, for sure, or whenever things kind of get back to normal, definitely want to do that again because that was the most iconic basketball event I've ever been a part of, and I've been a part of a lot of really special events and ceremonies and different things like that, and that was by far one of the greatest experiences of my life. So if anyone has a chance to attend when we have it the next time, you have to do it.
Great. Now, outside of basketball, what's your favorite sport?
Ooh, uh, to watch or to play?
Both.
I'd say I love soccer.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I love
To watch
soccer.
or play?
Huh?
To watch or play?
I like both.
Oh, okay.
I like to play tennis, and I also like to watch tennis. Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
I love.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Now, before we go, we're gonna switch gears a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we talk about your platform, and you know, I saw also you talked about Ahmaud Arbery, and it took. He was killed in February. They didn't arrest him, the perpetrators, until this month. And you spoke about I run with Maud, and why you posted, I think if I remember right, the Rihanna speech. Was it Rihanna?
Yeah, Rihanna.
Okay, the
Rihanna.
Rihanna speech.
Yeah.
Just speak a little bit about that, because again, you have that platform and you reach so many people of different races, of different genders. Just everyone looks up to you. So what is your take on that whole situation?
Yeah, I think it's really sad and it's really unfortunate that things like that are still happening in 2020. But it just goes to show how far we still have to go. I think with Ahmaud, that could have been anyone else's son, or brother, or a friend, or whoever. And it's sad that it had to happen to him, and it's sad that it's taking him and his family so long for them to get justice. But what I will say about my Rihanna post following right after it, she spoke at the NCAAP Image Awards, and she got an award. And, she said, it's great to have all different types of people, really rock with you, right? And who want to break bread with you or make money with you and all of that. But are they willing to fight for you and fight what's right? Are they sticking up for you? Are they your ally? Do they speak out? And so, even with me at Overtime, we have a lot of different types of people. And luckily most of it, for the most part, we all support each other, which is really great. And that's why you see Larry in here. But I think it's always very important, especially, whenever you have power or influence or privilege, that you help those that deserve to be on that same playing field. And if you wouldn't want it to happen to your son, daughter, or however someone identifies, then help make a difference, help make a change, because those are the types of people that are in power right now. Hopefully, as times change, we start getting more and more of a mix. For me, I think it's great when people are the first, but at what point are we going to stop having like the first Black woman to do this, the first Black man to do this, the first this, that? Like, it's 2020. So we just got to push for change, and we need other people around us to help uplift us as well.
No, great message. I'm so glad you said that. I couldn't have said it better myself. Before we let you go, like I said, at Courtside Conversations, we always have a little something in store for you. So the first thing we're going to do, right? So you're a TikTok queen. Everybody knows you. But so what I've done is I've had 3 of our followers, right, send in their TikTok, right? And you're going to judge out of the 3 which one you like the best. Now, the key to this is we're not going to play the music. You're going to actually just look at their skill level only. So
wow,
we're not going to let the music influence whether how good they are. All right.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
We'll let the people go in. So first, we got the Carolina Flames 2024 squad. Here we go. We're gonna watch them. Let's see.
All right.
Okay, they got 2 coming. Okay, all right. Let's see. They got a little something going on. Okay. All right.
Okay,
all right.
Shoulders.
Oh,
Okay, coach.
They got the old coach in there. Okay, all right. So they are first, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we're going with number 2. Let's look at number 2. All right, here we go. Here we go. We got number 2. Okay, we got Leah Boyens.
Okay. She's tough. Go ahead, Leah.
With her Get Me Recruited shirt on, I see you.
Oh, yeah, she's different. I like that logo, too.
So that's at LJ_B30, Leah Boyens. And then finally, we got Jasmine Danae, _.J. Let's see what she's working with. All right, here we go. Contestant number 3. What we got?
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So we got contestant A, the Carolina
So I got the
Flames.
Carolina Flames,
We got
Leah and Jasmine, right?
We got Leah Bowens, and then we got Jasmine. Okay, it's all up to you. Who's it gonna be?
All right, I'm seeing a lot of different stuff in the comments, but I'm gonna have to give it to my girl Jasmine. That was
Jasmine.
tough.
Jasmine. Oh, yeah. Jasmine.
I think that song too is "Toes" by DaBaby. That's how much I've been on that.
Exactly right. That's why I didn't play it, because everybody's on DaBaby right now. You know? So it's on DaBaby. Good job. Now,
good job, Jasmine.
Good job, Jazz. We see you. Lastly, before we let you go, we got something we like to call drip or drop. Drip or drop. You being a fashionista yourself, who better to judge the new up-and-coming fashionistas out here? And we got 10 of you for you to let us know drip or drop. All right, you ready? Okay. Drip or drop. Here we go. We got first, we got Antonio Brown. Look at that. Oh, my.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. What you think? Yeah, drip or drop?
You know, I think he has drip and drop on together.
Drip and drop. Okay.
Drip and drop. But for me, I'm gonna have to. It's gonna be a drop.
Oh, drop.
It's gonna be a drop
for Larry. So got, Antonio Brown is drop.
Yeah.
Okay, drop. I see Larry in there saying dope. Okay, all right, here we go. All right, number 2, we got Ben Simmons. What do you think? What do you think?
I think he's kind of doing the thing. He's kind of doing the thing. I see. You know, I might make the pants either a little shorter or a little longer. One of the two. It's like kind of in between. The feet go crazy though.
Okay. What is those? What is those? Airs?
Yo, they're off-white Jordans. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with drip.
You go with drip? Okay. All right. Ben gets the drip. Ben got the drip going on. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Who we go next? Who we got? We got Serena Williams. Oh. Okay. You like tennis? Okay. Drip all day.
Period.
Huh? No question.
She does no wrong in my eyes.
No. All right. Serena gets the drip. All right. Here we go. We got another one. Tamara Young.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ty Young always has a drip. The one thing I'll say about her is like she can pull off things that I could never wear, but her whole style, her whole style goes crazy.
Yeah. So she definitely gets the drip, right?
Yeah, she always gets the drip. I wouldn't wear it, but it's drip.
It's for her.
Yeah, it's drip for Ty. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, drip for Ty. All right. Here we go. We got Amon. Okay.
Drip. I like it. I like it all together. It's like I'm chilling, but like I'm slaying. You know, it's kind of like all of that.
Okay, a little hobo-ish.
Yeah. That's what the kids like these days. You know.
Hey, you can't. That's why I'm asking you. Cause you know,
that's what the kids like. All the kids in here will say his fit is fire.
Okay. All right. So let's go with a little W here. Here we go. We got 2 of them. Oh, Dwayne and Gabby. What do you think of this?
Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
What do you think, huh?
No. Great fit for both.
You said,
They look great.
Okay.
But I'm gonna have to drop.
Oh, they get the drop.
I'm gonna have to drop. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm gonna go with the drop. People may disagree with me. That's okay. But I'm not doing that. Love it though. Looks great on them.
Yeah, but still get the drop.
Yeah, but we're going to have to drop.
All right, we got 3 more left. Here we go. We got Russell Westbrook. What do you think?
You know, normally Russ be coming with some crazy things, but this is pretty calm for him. This is very calm for him. I'm gonna give him the drip.
You're going to give him the drip?
I'm going to give him the drip. You got the all white. I'm not sure what shoes those are, but this is from what he normally pulls out his bag. This is good for him.
This is upgrade.
He's just very unique.
He is, if nothing else. Yeah.
Super unique.
The normal dropper now gets the drip. He gets the drip. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go with Odell Beckham. Look at this. Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think?
I mean, I love Odell, so
Uh,
it's.
but wait a minute. This uh,
But this fit
uh,
is what you're asking me about, right?
yeah, yeah. It looks. I'm the old guy. I don't know. It just looks like a
He was.
old grocery bag. I don't know. So.
I love Odell, right? That's my guy. But with this right here, he was trying something different. Normally, he's the drip king.
Right.
But for this right here, we'll just have to drop.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah. He's
Odell,
cool.
he's still a good guy.
Great guy.
Great guy.
Great guy, you know?
Love him. But with this, he's going to have to drop. All right. Last one. One of my favorite guys, always bringing the drip, sometimes the drop. But here we go. Cam Newton, look at this here. Oh, my. Woo.
Cam, like I said, very unique. Love how comfortable he is with expressing himself.
Right.
But we're going to have to drop that. This right here, it's the drop.
Oh, this the drop.
I wouldn't wear it.
Right. I don't think anybody else would, but
yeah. I think Cam is one of one. I will say that.
Right.
One of one.
Describe that. What is that? When I like what is that?
You know, I can't even. The thing they said undecided. I'm dead. I don't know where you come up with it. I don't.
Right.
I don't. I'm creative, but I've never been that creative as well.
So you ain't got no excuse for it.
Mm-hmm.
No excuse for it. All right. Well, Chloe, you've been wonderful as we expected. We love you. We appreciate you. Keep using your platform the way you're doing it. Like I said, you're inspiration to so many people. You got a new fan in me. I'm watching now.
Thanks so much.
And it got me. I done got the jump rolled out and was looking like
you're ready to go now.
Yeah, I thought I could do it and failed, but that's another story. But if there's anything we can do, you need us, any questions or want to know about somebody in our area, of course Mary's your girl. That's my girl. She just put in love you in the comments.
Yeah, I love you, Mary. Yeah, you just always, Lamont, thanks for having me. And just, whenever you guys see kids, let me know. I can only be so many places at so many times. And I want to thank everyone for showing love in the comments, especially Morgan Jones. And I did want to say one more. When it's time for y'all events, just, let me get in. I know they be packed, so just let me get in.
We got some masks and hand sanitizer. We gonna slip you in the bag now.
Perfect.
You're good.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for being here.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me, Lamont.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.
There you have it. The one and only Overtime Chloe. It was a great interview. She really had some insight. Want to thank you all for being here. Look, tomorrow we'll have who our next guest is. Actually, I'm going to post it as soon as this live is over with. A great inspirational story coming up Thursday.